If you've been working or paying attention to the AI space for the last couple of months, you are familiar with NotebookLM. This is a service provided by Google. It's very similar to Gemini, though it can ingest any uploaded document or any online resource like a video or an online PDF, even a website. It's able to provide content-aware information, but the place where it really shines is that it can offer you an audio podcast discussing your source material between two individuals. However, this entire service is in beta. It's not a fully finished product, and they're continually developing it. And one of the features they added just within the last few hours is the Audio Overview Customize button. So before, you would only link your source material, in this case, the website for Suno Music AI, and then you would click Generate, and you weren't able to ask it specific questions or give it parameters for the audio podcast it would create. However, now, with the addition of this feature, you can specify the parameters in which you want the conversation to take place. And so I've added this specific prompt, which is going to have it kind of contemplate how the music industry is going to react to something like Suno AI, if they'll feel threatened by musical generation, and if there are any philosophical ramifications about generated music in our culture. Now, none of this information is discussed on the website in any way, and so it'll be interesting to see how it generates and what it comes up with. Again, this feature is still in beta, so it might take a while before it really steadies out. However, the fact that we're now at this point where we can customize the audio prompt, I think is a really good step. And here we have the generation. We're going to take a listen. I'm going to play it in its entirety, and we'll see how it did. And if you don't want to listen to this clip, just skip 2.5 minutes ahead.
All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of AI music.
And specifically, this platform everyone's talking about.
Suno.
Yeah, Suno.
Have you heard about this?
I have. It's really interesting how quickly it's shaking things up.
Yeah, it's like, imagine wanting a custom song, right?
Yeah.
Like a jazzy little number, something about a robot learning to love. You just type it in and boom.
And boom, the AI composer in the box just spits it out.
Exactly. No studio time, no musicians, just pure AI creativity.
Which really makes you wonder, what does this mean for the musicians, for the industry? Is this a threat? A tool?
Right. It's got to be a wild card for them.
Like, on the one hand, you've got this incredible potential. Any filmmaker, any game developer, anyone can have a custom score.
Totally. The democratization of music.
Exactly. But then, what about the craft of making music? The years of practice, the emotion, the human touch?
So then is it even RT if an AI does all the, the notes and the mixing and stuff?
That's the philosophical debate exploding right now. And it's not a new one, right? Think about photography. When that came around, some painters were like, well, that's it, art is over.
And yet here we are, still moved by painting. So maybe this is like a similar kind of disruption.
A disruption, an evolution, maybe even a revolution. Look at the synthesizer. Back in the day, that was seen as like the death of real music by some. Now it's everywhere.
So are we headed for like a world where it's all AI generated jingles and soundtracks? Will we crave like that human imperfection even more?
Or will AI push human artists to evolve, to find new ways to express themselves? Collaborations between humans and AI. Who knows what that could sound like?
Now that you mention it, that's fascinating. Like, could we end up appreciating human artistry in a whole new light because of AI?
It's a possibility, but I think the real question here, and it's a big one, is this. If an AI can make us feel something through music, what does that say about us?
Whoa, okay, so big takeaways for our listeners today, and I know you're all tuned in on this. Suno is a game changer, no doubt. For the music makers out there, it's both a challenge and a massive opportunity.
Absolutely. And for everyone else, get ready for a wild ride. The future of music is being written right now.
Exactly. And who knows what amazing new sounds and experiences await. This is just the beginning, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep those ears open and those minds even more open.
Because things are about to get interesting.
They sure are.
So certainly not the most comprehensive overview I've ever heard of a topic, but we did only give it the main webpage and we gave it some rather odd questions. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to remove those parameters and generate it again and see if it gives us anything different. Just confirming that there are no specifications in the overview, and we're going to generate that one more time. Right, the unaltered segment has now generated. We're going to give that a listen. If you want to skip this, go ahead by 4.5 minutes.
AI. It's everywhere these days, right? You've probably heard about AI making art or writing poems.
Right.
But get this. it's making music now.
Yeah,
Full-on songs.
it's pretty wild.
So today we're diving deep into AI music creation with this platform called Suno. And joining me is an expert in AI and music. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Now, this Suno thing, it's not just spitting out like pre-made tracks. You actually get to tell it what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Like imagine having a composer on demand, ready to whip up whatever you can dream up.
Okay, so walk us through this Suno thing. How much control does the user actually have?
So from what I've seen, you can type in any description, literally anything, and Suno's AI will try to make it into a song.
No way.
Yeah, and I mean any description. You can get super specific, like a lullaby for a robot, or go broad, like a jazz song about quantum physics.
A jazz song about quantum physics? That's nuts. People are requesting that.
Apparently, yeah. And it seems like the AI can actually deliver, which is the even crazier part. The possibilities are, well, kind of endless with this thing.
Okay, so I gotta ask, how does it even work? It's just reading my mind through the keyboard or something.
Well, not exactly mind reading. It's more like Suno is using these really powerful deep learning models.
Deep learning models. You're gonna have to break that down for me.
Right, so basically, these models have been trained on a ton of music, like massive amounts. And I mean, all kinds of music, different genres, everything.
Okay.
And the model analyzes all that data, the
Yeah.
notes, the rhythms, the whole structure of the music, and learns how to create something new based on what it's learned. So when you type in a request, it's using all that knowledge to come up with something that fits.
So it's not just like randomly throwing notes together. It understands what makes a lullaby different from a jazz song.
Exactly. It's using something called natural language processing to understand what you're asking for.
Wow. Okay, last question. What does all this mean for music and musicians?
Ah, the $1 million question.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely a big deal. Some people are worried, I think AI might replace human musicians altogether.
Yeah, I can see that.
But honestly, I think it's more complicated than that.
Okay, so what's your take?
Well, some musicians see AI as a new kind of tool, like a super advanced instrument they can use to explore new sounds or get past writer's block or whatever.
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's like AI as a collaborator. So if AI can make music now, what's next? Where do we go from here?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, think about it. This technology could change how we listen to music, how we experience it.
Like how? Give me an example.
Okay, so picture this. You're listening to music and it changes based on your mood. Like if you're feeling down, it plays something calming, or if you're working out, it switches to something with high energy.
Whoa, like a personalized soundtrack for your life.
Exactly.
Huh.
Or imagine movies with soundtracks that are generated in real time, perfectly matched to every scene.
That's wild.
Yeah, and those are just a couple of ideas. We're really just scratched the surface of what this technology can do.
Well, it sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new world of music, and AI is leading the way.
Absolutely. It's an exciting and slightly unnerving time. But one thing's for sure, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens next.
Absolutely. And that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of AI music creation.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was. But before we go, I gotta ask, if you could have an AI write you a song about anything, what would it be?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. I guess I'd have to go with
Yeah,
the song about the future of music itself.
Meta. I like it. And maybe a little bit scary, right?
Just a bit. But hey, that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? This whole thing just makes you think, what does it mean to be creative in a world where machines can do it too?
That's a question we'll all be grappling with more and more as AI continues to evolve. Great question to end on. Thanks so much for joining me today. This has been really insightful.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, make sure to check out Suno for yourself. You might just be surprised by what you hear. Until next time, keep exploring.
All right, so that was far more broad spectrum than anything else. It did have some interesting questions and some good commentary, but it wasn't perfect. I highly encourage you to use NotebookLM and Suno. Links to both will be in the description, but these are very powerful tools that are still being actively developed right now. This update was from just hours ago, so there are many things that are just now coming to the surface and that are now becoming possibilities. Let me know what you think of this tool and how you plan to integrate it into your workflows and into your learning development.